You kill one person 53 years ago, and suddenly everybody wants you back in prison. Alec Murdaugh is finally getting the guy in prison treatment. Road rage. Let it go. A story of a senseless killing in Memphis. The dead boyfriend in the suitcase. Well, that defendant has her case continued. Danny Masterson won't be retried on the counts where the jury hung. And then finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is CrimeTalk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, and remember to hit that bell for notifications. And remember, you can listen to us anytime by downloading any of your favorite podcasting apps. All right, let's go ahead and open the docket for July 12th, 2023, and let's begin. Yes, Leslie Van Houten walked out of a California prison yesterday after serving 53 years of a life sentence for her participation in two of the infamous Manson murders. Now, Van Houten, the youngest member of that cult, was released to parole supervision and driven to transitional housing. The convicted killer, who is now 73, is expected to spend about a year in this transitional housing, learning the basic skills such as how to go to the grocery store and buy groceries with a debit card. Yes, the world has changed quite a bit since she was out as a young child. Well, Van Houten was serving a life sentence, as we noted, for helping Charles Manson. Yeah, that Charles Manson, the crazy man, and other members of that cult by carrying out the 1969 killing of Lino LaBianca, a grocer in Los Angeles, and his wife, Rosemary. Now, her release comes just 4 days after the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, announced that he would not fight a state appeals court ruling that Van Houten should be granted parole. He stated the reason for that is it's pretty unlikely that the Supreme Court would consider that appeal, so we're just not going to do it. Anyway, Van Houten was 19 when she and the other cult members killed via knife the couple as part of the Manson's deranged plan to incite a race war by terrifying Los Angeles residents on a killing spree. She has shared how she held Rosemary down as she was murdered before stabbing her in the stomach some 16 times, and how she helped Patricia Kernwinkle, Tex Watson, and Glam Grogan carve up Leno's body before smearing the couple's blood on the walls. Real nice lady. The killer also wiped down fingerprints from surfaces and drank chocolate milk from the couple's refrigerator. The slayings happened the day after Manson followers killed actress Sharon Tate and 4 others, and Van Houten did not participate in the Tate killings, so she's got that going for her. Anyway, over the years, Van Houten has said that she regrets the killings, claiming she is mentally ill and became deranged after using LSD and actually believing that Charles Manson was Jesus Christ. Van Houten was first sentenced to death for her crime, but her sentence was ultimately reduced to life in prison after the capital punishment was outlawed in California in 1972. Needless to say, relatives of the Manson victims spoke out against Van Houten's release, and one of the family members stated, quote, "My family and I are heartbroken because we're once again reminded of all the years that we've not had my father and my stepmother with us." That was Corey LaBianca, Lino Bianca's daughter. Let me know, ladies and gentlemen, she's 73. Is she really a danger to society? Is 53 years enough for a life sentence? Did she get off easy? Should the governor have fought it a little harder? Who knows? Let me know in the comments below, but the reality of it is she's out. She has got herself a college degree and a master's degree while she's been in custody, so at least she did that, but she did, help kill 2 people and stab them up pretty good. Let me know if 53 years was enough. Next on the docket, Alec Murdaugh. That's right. Getting a little bit of that guy in prison treatment. I've talked about this before, going back to the old days of that guy named Chris, that eventually people aren't going to start taking your calls. They're going to avoid you because when you're that guy in prison, you're just asking for money, favors, asking them to do something on the outside. Well, we have a telephone call from Alec Murdaugh to his son Buster, and that's what really is starting to happen. So Alec Murdaugh, as we all know, a jury found Mr. Murdaugh guilty of shooting his wife Maggie and their younger son Paul at the family's little hunting estate known as Moselle there in South Carolina on June 7th of 2021. He was sentenced to consecutive life sentences for those murders, and obviously, you know, that's what you get when you take other people's lives. So he told his son on this call that he loves him and he's proud of him, and he was also hinting that he's been speaking to his legal counsel while in prison. And he says, hey, I don't have a whole lot of time. I just boarded a ferry going back to Hilton Head from Daufuskie Island. The father's like, yeah, I know, but I've been trying to call Jim. Can you let him know that I've been trying to get in touch with him? Yes, it's a thing. It happens when you go off to prison. Even your attorneys don't necessarily want to talk to you. And we know old Jim, a.k.a. Jim Griffin, his lead attorney on all these matters, well, the money's basically run out. So maybe that's why he's not taking the call. Listen to the call. It's not long. Here it is.
Hey, buddy. Hey, I don't have a whole lot of time. I just boarded a ferry to get back to Hilton Head Island from Daufuskie. Yeah, I know. I've been trying to call. I was supposed to call you while you were with Jim about this meeting. But anyway, how about text him and let him know I'm trying to call him? Okay. Did he talk to you about that? About the things that I told him? No, I can't really understand you either. All right. I'm gonna leave word with Jim, and he'll be in touch with you. Love you. All right. Okay. I'm proud of you. Thanks.
Next on the docket, let it go. And what I'm referring to is road rage. A woman was shot and killed in a road rage incident in Texas after her husband flipped off a driver on their way to work. Paula Nunez Linares and her husband, Zane Jones, were driving near Fort Worth, Texas on Monday when she was shot in the back of the head after the husband rudely gestured to another motorist for driving aggressively. Needless to say, the husband said that before the shooting, the couple had been behind someone who was driving slow in the right lane, so they used the left lane to pass. Another driver drove up to their Kia minivan bumper and almost crashed into them before backing away. Husband said, I flipped them off, adding that his wife always told me not to flip people off because you never know. Well, the husband, Zane, said he believed the other person was also flipping him off, but he then realized the other person was holding a gun. The driver then slowed down and shot through the back left window of the minivan, hitting Paula in the back of the head. They then shot a second time with the bullet going through Zane's headrest and the windshield. Now, needless to say, Zane says, I need him caught, I need him prosecuted, I need him in prison. I need him to know he didn't just fire a gun into a car at the end. Now, Zane, the husband, said he did not realize that Paula had been hit until he pulled into a gas station to call 911 and noticed that she wasn't ducking, but in fact, she was slumped over because of her wound. Now, Paula was taken to the hospital and pronounced dead that night. Zane's hands were tested for gunshot residue to rule him out as a suspect, and police say that they have no one as a suspect. The identity of the shooter has been described as a small, dark-colored, older model car. They say that they have no possible suspects or the model of the vehicle. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, as a criminal defense attorney, I beg you, I know how it is. You're sitting in the car, there's traffic. Let it go, because you do never know what that other person has in their car and what they are able to do. I've represented many a person who's been charged with road rage incidents, and somehow everyone always thinks if I show them the gun, that therefore that will stop everything. No, you've just basically committed a menacing. Not good. That's a crime. Don't do it. And then when people go crazy and they go do something else, like this situation, like we had in Fort Worth, now you're facing murder charges. Just like that, your life has changed, just like the victim's whole life has changed, and their family and everyone associated with that victim. Let it go. I understand people want to be safe. I get it. I do. But even though it's not the law, you can stand your ground. Somebody flipping you off does not warrant deadly force. It doesn't do it. I'm telling you, I've handled too many of these. In fact, I got one just the other day. Yep, that's right. Somebody wound up dead. They're tough, tough cases. Next, a completely senseless killing in Tennessee. A Tennessee surgeon was shot to death Tuesday by a patient who was laying in wait at the clinic for several hours before carrying out the attack. Now, Dr. Benjamin Mock was killed in an exam room by an unidentified gunman at the crowded Campbell Clinic Orthopedic office in Colleyville, which is about 30 miles east of Memphis. The police stated that this appears to be a one-on-one interaction, adding that the gunman spared the many patients and employees who were also in the clinic. Apparently, it was in the exam room. It was with a healthcare worker, and he was a patient. The shooter fired a handgun and ran outside the clinic, where he was apprehended by police without incident just 5 minutes after the killing of the doctor. Now, Dr. Mack leaves behind his wife and 2 young children. Police are still trying to uncover the gunman's motive, but a witness said that the shooter had been threatening a staffer at the clinic for about a week. Perhaps disgruntled employee? Who knows? Next, that's right, the woman who put her boyfriend in a suitcase for fun and games, her trial has been continued. That's right. The murder of the Florida woman accused of zipping her boyfriend into a suitcase, recording his cries for help on her phone, and leaving him there to die has been continued again. Sarah Boone is charged with second-degree murder in regards to the death of her boyfriend, Jorge Torres Jr., and the next status hearing for the case has been set for July 21st. Now, back on February 25th, 2020, Boone was arrested after Torres' body was discovered in a zipped-up suitcase at the couple's Winter Park, Florida apartment. Boone told police that she and Torres had been drinking, played a couple of games, then played a little hide-and-seek that apparently went wrong. I wonder how he zipped that suitcase up from the inside. Very interesting. Well, needless to say, she didn't call 911 until the following afternoon. Now, Boone admitted zipping Torres into the luggage, but said Torres got in voluntarily because he thought that it would be funny. She said she went upstairs to bed, passed out, and woke up the next morning to find Torres still in the suitcase, unresponsive. Yes, he was unresponsive because he was dead. Now, police discovered some incriminating videos on Boone's phone. She could allegedly be heard taunting Mr. Torres as she filmed him struggling to get out of the suitcase. He could be heard crying for help, yelling Boone's name and saying that he couldn't breathe. In one of the videos, Boone even laughed and said, "That's what I feel like when you cheat on me." Well, Boone's attorney has stated that his plan is to present what is sometimes referred to as the battered wife defense and plans to prove that she suffered violence at the hands of Torres. Now, Boone maintains her innocence and is currently being held without bond, and if convicted, she could face up to life in prison. Next on the docket, Danny Masterson, he got a little bit of good news. That's right. He will not be retried on the charges that the jury hung. So he's got that going for him. Prosecutors announced yesterday that they will not retry Danny Masterson on a rape charge jurors failed to reach a verdict earlier this year. In May, Masterson was convicted on 2 of the 3 rape charges, but the jury was hung in regards to the third, which involved the alleged rape of a former longtime girlfriend. After being found guilty, he was immediately taken into custody and is currently being held at the Los Angeles County Jail. For those 2 charges, he is due to be sentenced on September 7th and could face a potential sentence of 30 years to life in prison. In all 3 cases, Masterson was accused of sexually assaulting women in his Hollywood Hills home between 2001 and 2003. All 3 women were, like him, members of the Church of Scientology, and during the first trial last year, jurors leaned in favor of acquittal on all 3 counts, voting 10-2 on one count, 8-4 on another, and 7-5 on the third. But they were unable to reach a unanimous decision, so the judge had to declare a mistrial back on November 30th. And I'm telling you, when a mistrial is declared like that, the only people that benefit is the prosecution. They get to fix their mistakes. And as you can see, that's exactly what happened on Mr. Masterson's case. So prosecutors confirmed that they wanted to retry the actor in Los Angeles Superior Court, and the judge rejected that defense to have the cases dismissed. That's why the case ultimately went to trial again. And like I said, he was convicted of 2 of those 3 charges. He's looking at 30 years. He's going to be registered as a sex offender, probably going to spend the rest of his life in prison if he has an unsuccessful appeal. Just goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, don't put yourselves in those types of situations. And I understand when you're a young actor making lots of money, you probably didn't think you could ever get in any trouble, and he probably thought, who doesn't want to be with him? No means no, ladies and gentlemen. It's that simple. Please go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. And finally today, our dumb criminal of the day. Unfortunately, today's dumb criminal involves a member of law enforcement who used a racist fabrication to fake a carjacking to cover up, well, some incompetence on his part with firearms. Well, and he's been fired. Now, Dakota Wood, this kid's only 21 years old, but he was previously employed as a telecommunicator with the Hernando County Sheriff's Office. That's a fancy word for dispatcher. He's resigned because he has some charges coming, including tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, false reporting of commission of a crime, and illegal discharge of a firearm in public. So on June 30th, the sheriff deputies responded to a call about an attempted carjacking and shooting. Law enforcement found Mr. Wood suffering from a gunshot wound to the leg, and he told the deputies that responded that he was nearby this park in the early morning hours when he was accosted by unknown men who tried to take his vehicle. Mr. Wood stated, quote, "The men displayed a firearm and threatened to kill him before shooting him in the thigh." Wood said the shooter then collected the shell casing prior to fleeing the area on foot. After being shot, Wood said that he obtained his personal firearm and fired approximately 5 rounds in self-defense. Mr. Wood further advised the police that he believed he hit one of the suspects several times following the shooting. Well, Wood advised that he relocated from that park to a different intersection to give him some distance between him and the suspect. Clearly, his experience as a dispatcher was coming in there. Well, as you can imagine, he was taken to the hospital, and the detectives arrived because they want to talk with him. Now, Wood, who is white, said that the men who accosted him were black. But as it turned out, no other men were involved in the shooting at all. Mr. Wood finally confessed to fabricating the whole story about the carjacking attempt and the men that he claimed had attacked him earlier. What was the truth? Well, he was out at the park because he was upset about relationship issues with his girlfriend, and he accidentally shot himself while playing with his gun. He said he made the whole story up because he didn't want to get in trouble. Well, Mr. Wood, how did that one work out for you? Not so good. Not so good. Well, he's been arrested, charged, and he has been released on a $7,000 bond. But I don't think he's going to have a future in law enforcement because he has some credibility issues, to say the least, an integrity issue when it comes to truthfulness. His law enforcement days are done, and if he gets a felony, his firearm days may be done as well. Mr. Wood, congratulations. You are a dumb criminal of the day. Keep your mouth shut. Don't lie. When you lie, it just makes it worse. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.